So, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Tim Isaac. I've been performing magic for about over 25 years, over 30 years now, actually.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I started as a kid, and yeah, and I'm a member of the Magic Castle. Been a member since 2008, performing regularly.
Oh, wow.
I've performed thousands of shows there, refining my art, and I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Ryan told me a little bit about your, I guess, audition for Magic Castle.
Yeah.
Yeah, how they usually make people perform multiple tricks, but they only were like, oh, you just did one. And
Oh, yeah. Surprised you remember that. Yeah. Generally, they ask for about 5 to 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And I did a coin routine. There's different objects that you could use in magic, and coins just happens to be one of my favorite things to work with.
Yeah.
And so when they saw the routine, they were like, we're good. You're in. So I was like, all right, because I told them I have more, but
Yeah.
they were satisfied. So
That's super
that was
cool.
great, yeah.
I want to see this coin routine now.
Yeah.
So what are you going to be doing at the event?
Well, I'm going to be doing close-up visual magic, and that's my specialty. Generally, people don't see a whole lot of magic. It just kind of surprises me. And of the options that are available, stage magic, close-up, parlor, they generally prefer the close-up and the visual stuff. Making objects disappear. That's what I mean by visual magic, and pass through one another or something to that effect, versus mental magic, which could be very interesting and profound, and create a sense of wonder. But I constantly, whenever I'm in the crowd watching a magic show and they're doing this visual magic, I hear constantly, "This is what I want to see," and this is what they were expecting whenever they go to a magic show.
Yeah.
And so that is my passion and what I specialize in. So I'm going to be working with a variety of objects. Cards are coins. I'm going to be using some balls and ring and rope. So,
all right.
yeah, a variety of things.
I'm excited. I don't want to spoil the surprise for myself, so I'm just like, I really want to see it, but I'm like, oh, wait, just wait. I want it to be a surprise on the day of. So how did you get into magic? You said from an early age, like what?
Yeah. Well, there wasn't really any one magician. I think it was more of an effect that I was was imagining in my own mind. I don't remember ever seeing it, but it was the vanish of a coin. And somehow that idea of making something disappear, was just, it created this feeling of awe in me or something. I know I was so intrigued and I had to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
And so that was the spark that, instigated this whole passion of mine. So. Yeah, but I did. I was raised seeing David Copperfield, which had a big influence, and going to the county fairs to see magicians there. But there wasn't any one magician that inspired me to get into magic per se. There are magicians that inspire me now.
Yeah.
But to stay in magic and to better my own magic. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Who are the ones that inspire you?
Well, they're not real famous, but Armando Lucero is one of the greatest magicians on the planet, I think. And his when you watch him is like, I would compare it to ballet.
Oh, wow.
Okay, it's a very refined, beautiful, elegant magic that he performs, and it's just exquisite to watch. Even if you don't understand what he's saying. I've been in a crowd where there was a group who didn't speak English, and I was like, and in the line I'm like, don't worry, you're going to understand it, because magic transcends that language barrier, because you see what's happening, and you still get that experience of wonder, no matter. So it's pretty amazing.
I'll have to check that guy out. So what's mind magic or mental magic?
Mental magic is premonition, reading a person's mind, for lack of a better term. it's that's what I mean by mental magic. I only do a little bit of that, and generally it's the little quick bits. Because I think for me, when I see a full show of mental magic, it's a lot of words before something magical happens. It's just a whole ritual, which can be interesting. But to me, I want to, like I do, most of the routines I do are 3 to 5 minutes. And there will be anywhere from 8 to 10 effects that happen within that time frame. And to me, that's more interesting, is there's always something magical happening. That, that's just more interesting to me. So that's what I've created in my own routines. Nothing against mental magic, but I mean, there's some really great mentalists out there. That's what we call them, mentalists. And so, and it's honestly, a lot of it fools me because I've made no study of it. No study of it. So, that's what I mean by mental magic.
I read people's energy, and it's kind of like a form of mind reading.
Oh yeah, I do. Very similar. Actually.
So it's like I'm in good company.
Actually, one of the routines, the latest routine I developed was trust your intuition, and that's the premise of the effect. And so it's a very interesting thing that people don't seem to trust their own intuition. And so I really wanted to have a take-home message with my magic. That's my newest thing. I've always had presentational reasons for the magic happening, but to have a take-home message that they can grab a hold of and make it almost like their own mantra, if you will. Trust your intuition is something they could take home with them. And I that really I was very happy when that came up, in my own imagination, this idea that this could, I could do this, and so I created a whole routine around that premise.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
So you can do one of the things that I can do is you can give me a name of somebody who's not here, and I can tell you things about them.
Okay.
But I would have to have their permission. Can you do similar stuff like that, or what's your mental magic?
I don't understand that. What do you mean by that?
So, let's say you have a friend, Sally, and you tell me Sally's name. I can start telling you some of the stuff that's going on in Sally's emotional life.
Oh, okay.
So I can also do it without a name.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
You want to try it?
Well, you would have to get their permission, but but what we can do is at the event I can do it at the event.
Sure.
And so or I can do it on the spot. I have a lot of people who don't believe me, and they're like, no. And I was like, call the person. I did it on my podcast too. Oh wow. And so I'm now realizing I'm a magician.
Yes, you are. You're actually a real magician. I just play the part.
No, but you said you could do some interesting. I believe it's all magic.
It's interesting is whenever I do trust my intuition, it's mostly unconscious. It's not something I can seem to make happen. It just sort of happens. And I'm totally unaware of it. Totally unaware of it. So and people will come up to me and say, "Do that again, Tim." I'm like, I have no idea what I just did. I somehow can't seem to initiate the process. It just happens of its own accord. So
that's really fascinating.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't remember actually how I started doing what I do. Okay. It just kind of happened. Yeah. And then I just kept practicing and practicing and practicing. And one day my friend was like, "Well, I don't have their name, but I'm thinking of them." And I was like, "Okay, let's do it." And then I was like, "What the fuck was that?" So I get what you're saying. It's like sometimes you do things and you're just like, I don't know where that came from.
I think that's the sort of the state of intuition is that it can't be explained, generally speaking. So, yeah.
Well, I like that idea of the intuition thing. That's because for me, that's been really difficult. Is trusting my intuition and going with it, and that for everybody really, because it requires you to have that level of just belief in yourself and in what you're feeling. And, and it's like really, is this the right thing to do?
Well, I think you got to know. I mean, you should follow your reason and learn as many facts as you can.
Yeah.
And then once you've learned everything you can, and you've got to make a decision.
Yeah.
Trust your intuition. And I think part of it is affirming that you should trust your intuition.
Yeah.
And then knowing that you can, and so it's a process of knowing that your intuition is in you.
Yeah.
And that you need to tune in with it.
Yeah.
And letting it flow through you. So it's very interesting that people are really out of tune with their intuition.
Yeah.
And they're not even aware that it's there
for
them.
Yeah. Definitely. So what's your favorite magic trick that you perform?
Oh man, they're all my favorite. But I'd have to say it's a competition right now between a coin routine, because that's my first love, the coins, and this trust your intuition effect, because it is the epitome of what I've always hoped my magic could be. Yeah. That take-home message. But the coin routine is beautiful to watch. I have a couple of them. I think the one I'll be performing is the original one, not the one I did at the castle. The one I did at the castle, I actually was never really happy with.
Oh, wow.
And so I actually, but I love the premise. It's a coins across. That's the concept of the magic, where a coin disappears from one hand and appears instantly in the other hand.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's coins across. That's the name of that effect. And I've always been intrigued by this effect, but I was never really satisfied with what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so I had to create a routine that I was happy with. And so that will be what I'm performing at the event.
Yeah. I'm excited. I kind of want you to perform a magic trick.
Well, I'll be honest. I've always avoided recording my magic on video,
let's not do it.
because it's not the same. It doesn't have the same impact.
Yeah.
It's okay if you say. I mean, honestly, I've been thinking a lot about what I could do on TV or online, and so I think I might start developing something that I could do.
Yeah, well, I would love to record anything that you want. The studio, if you want to record your own content and stuff, you're welcome to use this space whenever you like.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, everybody who's helping me out with this, like I'm opening up my space for them. If you wanted to start recording stuff for your own, channels or whatever, my space is your space.
It's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. No, I would love to watch.
Oh, okay. Yes. Well. Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions? I don't know.
Yeah, no. So for me, one of the magic has always been extraordinarily powerful and very special.
Yeah.
And I when we were talking, you had mentioned how you were very interested in my event because of the merging of the arts and the wellness with magic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's intuitively for me it felt right, but I actually don't have any explanation for it does feel right, but I think it's that what you were talking about. It's you open your mind and there's a sense of awe and wonder, and I think that just that alone can inspire people to go into different directions. So tell me a little bit more about your theory on that.
On the wellness?
On the wellness mixed with the magic and the
absolutely,
the arts.
Yeah. It's very interesting that I recently have started diving deep into how the experience of wonder elevates our well-being. Mm-hmm. And it's so many levels. I mean, this is this rabbit hole I'm going down of how powerful. I mean, it can change not only your physical and emotional well-being, but how you connect to people and your perception of life. Because it really challenges when you see something very profound that. Magic in particular, because I think it's an art form that specifically induces or it challenges your point of view on life. Yeah. Because you see something that shouldn't happen. Yeah. And it creates this moment of vastness and timelessness. It's almost like you connect with your own soul for a moment.
Yeah.
And then you gotta come back because it's kind of frightening,
Yeah.
And so that's something I've actually had to learn, is to let people have that experience without ruining it with humor. You know, because
Yeah.
a lot of magicians do that. They're very scared of that moment of wonder, and so they got to tell a joke or something to get some sort of
To
reaction
lighten it a
and to
little
get
bit.
them to clap or whatever. But I think that moment of wonder is, there is no clapping. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, no.
There might be a gasp or something, because there's got to be if it happens naturally, there's a physical reaction that
Yeah.
happens. But it's a very interesting how, recently I've been really diving into how it helps us connect with a person, right?
Yeah.
Make better connections. Because of this feeling of vastness and this timelessness that happens, it actually elevates or improves or increases our patience.
Huh.
Yeah, so there's a long-term effect that happens when we see something. It actually makes us more patient, because this timelessness, I think it has to do with that. There's this we feel like we have more time available, because we feel more expanded mentally.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden now we go, I have the time.
Yeah.
And so you're willing to listen more, you
Yeah.
know, and you're willing to reach out with understanding and make that connection
Yeah.
with anybody, family, friends, you know.
Yeah.
So that to me is really interesting. I'm going to dive deeper into it, because it's just a recent discovery that I made,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that I want to, you know, learn more about.
No,
So,
it's brilliant.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and that's honestly, it's always what I've known intuitively.
Yeah.
That magic should be, because that's what I've always tried to bring is to my magic, is something that people just can't. That, you know, I had to learn how to appreciate the silences from my audience, because it can be very unnerving.
Yeah.
You know, and because, are you guys seeing this or what? You know, because it's
Yeah,
like, because there's got to be, you generally, like with humor, there's a laugh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
With art, you know, or whatever, you know, I don't know if the artist is there, maybe they might want to hear your take on it or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
you know. And so there's generally some sort of reaction that we're hoping for.
Yeah.
But the silences are, I had to learn to appreciate them and sort of wallow in them, you know, because I had to, because I wanted them to enjoy the experience,
Yeah.
however they did.
Yeah.
And so, so that's what I've kind of intuitively felt magic should be. And bringing that into the wellness, now I realize that it actually does have an effect on our well-being. And I've always been into health. Okay, I'm an herbalist as well as a magician, and so that this whole idea that you're bringing in wellness into art,
Yeah.
and you know, making that that collaboration, if you will, is super intriguing and perfect for me.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to be part of it. You know?
Yeah, no, same. Everything you're saying is literally what I've experienced, because I've always just thought of it as like energy reading, because I don't read literal thoughts.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
it's what?
Yeah, it's exactly right. It's an energy. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. And so like just that, like that pause, that's because there's like I've had people say it's spooky,
Mm-hmm.
like, and so you can feel that, because there's no interaction when I'm doing it. It's
Right.
just I'm doing it, and they're just sitting there like, and I'm like, am I like, is it right? Like, I'm
Yes.
like, what's going? Like, did they get it? Like, is it? Did my message come across? Like,
Yeah.
was it accurate?
They're having an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so some people cry,
Yeah.
and some people are like, "What the fuck was that?" And so I'm just like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But everything you're saying, it literally is totally accurate. Yeah. So I'm very interested in your work on that, and sort of seeing where you go with your research, because you're onto something.
Yeah. I really want to bring it into. I'm actually. I don't know if I should. I mean, I'm starting a business, or I'm hoping to. I'm going to, you know. And
Yeah.
because I want to bring magic to the world, you know,
Yeah.
or to at least to the USA. You know, I don't know if I'll go outside of the U.S., but that's something that I want to let people know. Hey, this is a legit art. It's
Yes.
a high art form
Yes.
that deserves or is worthy of a place among the high arts, because a lot of people tend to whenever they think of magic, think, oh, can I hire you for my kid's party or something, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, that's not what I specialize in.
Yeah.
I can recommend some awesome magicians who perform kids'
Yeah.
magic, but I really want to, at least in the general psyche, raise the level of magic.
Yeah.
You know, to where I think it deserves to be. You know.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I went off a little track there.
No, it's good. It's good. I go on tangents on here on the regular. So yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to perform at the event, and it's the show that I do is around 17 minutes long. So
Okay.
I think it's going to be great to
Yeah.
have people.
I'll be there.
Sit. Yeah.
Front row center.
Yeah. So.
No, what else was I gonna ask you? No, tell me some interesting, fun things about you and magic that you would like to share with people.
Interesting things.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing comes to mind. Do you have anything specific?
I don't know. Some interesting things you've learned about magic, like some interesting history or something like that.
Well, I'll share.
Oh, that's me. I kicked this. Oops.
There it is. Something I will share about magic is that it's a lot of people think it's the trick, you know, and it is. There is a trick to the magic, but I really think there is a psychological aspect that gets missed in magic, and it's a very specific psychology. It's the direction of attention. It's knowing how where our attention goes, you know, because we need the audience to see what we're doing, and then we need the audience to not see what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
So we have to, as magicians, be very aware of the attention of the audience, which is a psychological thing, right? Because we see with our mind.
Yeah.
Our eyes are just a physical instrument. And so because we could see something, but if our mind rejects it, we unsee it. It's a very interesting thing.
Huh.
So because if we put importance on something, we'll remember it. But if we don't put importance on it, we'll forget it. We see more than what we actually think we see.
Yeah.
So that's a very niche thing I've known for a while, but I've really been trying to understand on a deeper level.
Yeah.
Because once I understand that aspect of magic, I think I can reach a whole new level of refinement and in the art. So that's I think that is something I can share with the audience. Yeah, the psychology of it. You know, there's a very interesting thing. Yeah. But I think also there's certain categories. Like whenever I see a magic show, I'll break it down into three things. Okay, the magic. Okay, was it magical? Okay, and the stage presence. Okay, and rapport. Okay, connection to the audience. So, I mean, there's probably other aspects to a performance that one could dive into, but those are the three things. When something's magical, when they have stage presence, and there's a connection with the audience, the rapport. And so those are generally the three things that I'll judge on whenever I see a magician. And one could have really good rapport, but very weak magic.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, you know, because a lot of magicians, it seems like, not a lot, I'd say there's 50-50 maybe, but there are magicians that don't have a strong sense of what is magical. But so they just do in the trick.
Yeah.
With great rapport, and maybe even great stage presence. You know, what I mean by stage presence is there's beats to theater in theater, right? I took theater in college, and so when I learned that there are beats where there's got to be an action or there's a line to communicate something to the audience that's important for them to understand the story that you're telling, right? So, so when you understand those beats, you don't rush them, and you don't take them too slow. Otherwise, you're going to lose your audience.
Yeah.
So, but if you take them too fast, there's lack of understanding. So there's got to be there's an optimum level of these beats that happen, and that's what I mean by stage presence. Presence, also confidence, right, in yourself and in your ability. So there's a lot of aspects that I judge on whenever I see a performance that make a good, well-rounded magic show.
Yeah.
So, and there's interesting that there are magicians who have really strong magic, but absolutely no rapport. They're just doing magic for themselves almost. You know, it's very interesting. It's like, wait a minute, you know, talk to us. You know,
connect.
Look up with us. You know, speak to us. And so that doesn't happen as often. Is mainly the thing is either really strong magic and rapport or weak magic and rapport. Rapport always seems to be pretty standard. Like there is a connection, even a minor little connection. You know, so. Yeah, I don't know what else.
That's cool. I actually had Ryan, our friend.
Yeah.
I taught him how to do what I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're talking about the.
Yeah, Ryan, who
intuition.
connects to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want to do is you want to see if you can do it, because I have permission from one of my friends.
Okay.
So I can either give you their name or not give you their name.
Okay.
And you can see if you can tell me things. I know this person very, very well.
Okay.
Ryan was actually able to physically describe this other person to a T.
Okay.
And my friend was like, "What?" And I was like, "We got it on camera."
Well, I mean, I can give it a shot, but generally I feel like I need to be calm, and I'm feeling a little
nervous.
a little nervous, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, not, you know, I just, I mean, we can give it a shot.
Yeah, we can try.
Give it a shot, yeah.
Do you want his name or without the name?
Well, first of all, what am I doing? You know?
So you're just so what I have to tell people is like the message can either be a feeling, you can be looking at something, it can be particular thoughts, maybe tastes, sensations, and like you just, if it's an emotion, like just kind of, it can come up in any way.
Okay.
It just kind of happens.
Okay.
It's so.
All right.
Yeah.
With the name.
Yeah, Clark.
Strength.
Yes, he's extremely strong.
Kindness.
Extraordinarily kind.
I don't know. I'm seeing rock and roll.
He does have that kind of vibe.
The vibe. Okay.
Yeah.
One more. Stability.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
He's
stability.
solid. Yeah, he's a solid friend of mine.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. See.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
Those were all like those are the key things that I would actually use to describe Clark.
Okay.
He's extremely kind, really strong. He's always been a solid friend.
Yeah.
Like so, like everything you said, it was literally things that I feel and about him and see him that way.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yay. I feel better now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a little, like, I always catch people off with, like, I don't know if that, and I'm like, no, let's just do it.
Well, trust your intuition. It's something I try to do, so.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Have you ever done any, like, thing like that before?
No.
No?
Not intentionally. I think there was one time years ago when a friend of mine did a regression where they wanted to just like tap into a past life of mine. Yeah. And I don't know if it really happened, but I kind of feel like it did, you know. And that's the only other time I've ever tried to do something like that. So.
Have you ever had any like spooky things happen to you?
Not really. I mean, I mean, sometimes if I see a freaky movie, I'll get this tingly, you know, like walking around. I'm like, okay, I got to look behind, you know. But nothing. Like I haven't had any experience with ghosts or anything
never?
like that. No.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
don't know why I'm assuming that a magician would have experience with
well,
ghosts.
I mean, not that they don't exist, but that's a whole other topic. But but I think also, I think a strong-willed person or strong-minded person can, I don't know. I mean, it seems like ghosts tend to, I don't know. Like, first of all, why would they be here, right? They're kind of stuck on this plane of existence. But I think a strong-minded person probably keeps them at bay in some sense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not that we don't. If a strong-minded person can invite them, then sure, that's a different thing. Yeah. But I think somehow they kind of keep their distance.
Yeah.
So.
I've asked to not see them, and so I've only had a couple experiences with different things. But I do like astral projection and other. I get like visuals at night when I close my eyes. I can start to have different visions and stuff, and still be like here in my body, but like create like my own cartoon thing going on.
Nice, it's fun. I know that. I mean, the astral is a very interesting. For lack of a better word, interesting concept, I think, to consider, because it's really the astral exists within us. It's our energy body. So, so that's a living proof, I think, of that it exists. So it's not something outside of ourselves or some weird concept that we have to. Believe in or something. It's part of our being,
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree with you. It's funny. One day, my dad, I was at dinner with him, and I was talking about this kind of stuff, but I was like, oh, I don't know what he's talking. He's like, yeah, I've been to the moon. I was like, excuse me? I was like,
yes,
and
I've been to the moon.
Yeah. He's like 100% serious, and there's no sarcasm in this man. So he was like dead serious, and he's like, yeah, I left my body and I went up and I went to the moon, and it's through the ceiling. I was like, like, that's all right,
yeah.
And then he's like, oh yeah, I talked to my parents. His parents are dead. He has that experience, and for him, he's such in a bubble that he doesn't have any sort of outside people or things telling him that that's not a possibility, because to him, he's like, I've experienced this and this is the way it is.
Yeah.
And so
it's amazing.
It's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's I think it's kind of rare that people share that thing with other people, because then all of a sudden, again, that's challenging. Their beliefs, limited beliefs, really. And so. And one doesn't want to feel eccentric, or be perceived as that. So I generally don't talk about this with people unless I really feel like you're cool, and I'm sure our audience is cool. But I generally don't bring this up with people, like at work or in other environments, unless I know they're receptive to it. And because it's not something I want to start debating about. It's not a debate to me. So and having an argument about the astral world or something is okay. That's the conversation I can skip on. Thank you. So that's generally why I keep these subjects.
No, I understand. It's funny that you say that, because my dad didn't actually share that stuff with me until I was open with it. So it's the moment, and it had to come from an intuitive place from him, because I never actually like totally disclosed it. And when I was talking about stuff, like it's interesting how that sort of lines up. But I've always called him a magician. People ask me like where he gets all this stuff, and I was like, I don't know. Like that stormtrooper over there, or like how he's all this artwork. I'm like, he's a magician. Like I don't know. But I'm with you. Circling back to the like magic as being a high art. Like when I went to the Magic Castle, that's an art. That's you guys are able to move attention and to move yourselves within that space, and to make people believe something that they inherently was like, no, that's solid, and now it's not. And it's just like that's an art. It's because it's not easy to do.
No, it is not. You know, and that's another belief that magic is easy. Well, yes, you can buy a trick at the magic store and do it in, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But is it magic? It's a trick.
Yeah.
And that's something else.
Yeah.
I mean, I could teach you a trick right now, and you could do it. And then, but if you actually went and said, you know what, I'm going to put a presentation to this, and I'm going to smooth out the edges, make it flow, make this, the sleight of hand, or even if it's self-working, seamless. Then all of a sudden, now you have something that you're putting a voice to.
Yeah.
Your own voice to. And that's what really, I think what art is, or high art, is your voice.
Yeah.
Your own creativity flowing through, and you're not imitating other masters.
Yeah.
And initially, I think when we first start to learn an art form, we probably should imitate the masters because we're learning the art. And so, but eventually, that's just going to be unsatisfying, And so we really need to find our voice, and that happened to me with magic. I mean, I was imitating all the great masters, and then I was just so dissatisfied with it. I was like, I'm done with it, and I left magic. And I just stopped it for years. And my friends were like, what's going on, Tim? Freaking out, because I had a natural talent for it. I really had a natural talent for it, but I was not satisfied with what I was doing, and I had to leave in order to learn other things. I really got into philosophy and yoga and meditation and crystals and all these different things and herbs. And so I had to grow as a person and then come back with a new perspective and create something with my own voice, that I had the voice.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I had to develop it though. I had to, figure out what that was. And sorry, I totally lost track of your original question.
No, it's good. I love the free flow. I was very. It's like you were expanding and depthening your perception so that you could bring that to your craft.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And it's interesting is I've had a couple of directors watch my show, and one of them really, there's two different things that happened. One was I had this sort of nervousness when I was doing magic, and I would say something and then I would laugh at my own joke, and the director said, "Don't do that, Tim. You're stealing the moment. Stealing the moment. Let them laugh if they want to laugh." And he said, "I want to be in awe of you. You're a magician, right? You're doing powerful magic. I want to be in awe of you." And that made an impression on me. Not that I'm like trying to put a person into an awe state of me, or anything, but it's just, it really helped me to realize that I need to perform without trying to grasping for that reaction, And so that nervous laugh and that and the or whatever, I've seen magicians who will start the applause for the audience, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool, but not going to happen, for me. So, that was one. Okay, let the audience experience whatever the wonder and awe and inspiration that they feel, if it happens. And then the other one was, I had presentational reasons for the magic, because I always felt like the magic that I was doing had to have some reason for it. Otherwise I just felt like I was doing tricks. Coins flying from here to here. So what? It's visually neat and impossible, but if I don't have some sort of reason that I'm explaining to the audience why this magic is happening, it was pointless to me. And so I had to find these reasons and put them into the presentations. And I'd done that, and I'd created a whole show doing that. And a director saw it and was like, "Love it, but what's your take-home message?" And that blew my mind, because I thought, oh, I've got it, I'm at the summit of my magic, and this was the next step I needed to take, is having a take-home message that people can grab a hold of and go home with, And so I think this Trust Your Intuition routine that was actually like the first routine I created that had a take-home message, actually, as well as a presentational reason for why the magic is happening. And so these two aspects, letting the audience feel the awe without ruining it for them, stealing the moment from them, and through humor or your own laughter or starting the applause or whatever, there's a grasping attitude that happens, right? Cut that. The other is the take-home message, and it's very interesting that a piece of art like this, you could look at it and you're going to feel something, and maybe there's not a take-home message, but maybe there is. You could ask the audience, what's your message with this? And but a lot of times art is whatever it is you feel, and that feeling is what you take home with you. Though I like to have some sort of affirmation, like for lack of a better term, that they can have in their mind as well as in their heart. So, yeah.
It's almost like you teach your own philosophy through the art and leave people kind of empowered feeling.
Yeah, I've always, there's a very interesting thing that happened whenever I was in college. I was just doing my regular routines, nothing really refined. And one of the audience members came up to me and said, "Tim, how did you do that? Was it energy?" I'm like, yeah, I guess from a point of view, it was energy, because it's very interesting when you see something that's impossible to happen. It seems like there's got to be some supernatural energy that made it happen, and so that was sort of like the current that I decided. I mean, I was so it was like the perfect thing this person could say to me, because it made an impact on me. I'm like, yes, that's what I want to do. And so I've always felt like this chi or this prana was the undercurrent, the underlying reason for why my magic is happening. And it's very interesting in the movies, right? Whenever you see Gandalf or whatever, he's got his staff, right? He's aiming it at, whatever it is he's going to make magic happen to. These magical moments, if you will, that's what we call them in magic, magical moments. There's got to be an energy that happens, right? And in magic, it's crazy is that a lot of magicians don't do that. They just do the effect and bam, there's no moment of intention for the magic to happen, and it's so vital, because it's the energy that you're putting into your performance that makes it happen, right? I don't know. It's really hard to explain this properly. I feel, there's we have the wand, right? Okay. Why is the wand the wand? Well, it's supposed to contain the power of the magician. Well, to me, the wand is just the channel, the instrument that channels or directs the energy of the magician, right? And that's what you see in the movies all the time. People doing stuff with their hands or whatever. They're gathering their energy, focusing it to make this thing happen. And I think that needs to happen, or at least be presented as if it's happening in a magic show. And it's such a critical point of communication to the audience that something interesting is going to happen here, something magical, something supernatural. So, there's so many aspects of magic that that they need to be considered properly, and in order to make it communicatable, to the audience, and so they understand what's going on. And it can be more than just a snap. I mean, there's a bit where I used to make the magic happen with a snap, right? Now I do this, and then it happens, right? It's almost like a breath, right? And a push of energy that happens, and it somehow made it more powerful to the audience. There was a moment of, because I almost felt it.
Yeah.
I felt that push of energy, and I since then have done that.
Yeah.
Because I just felt right.
Yeah.
And it happened almost by accident, you know?
Huh.
I don't know, this intuitive moment of, I'm going to do it this way, right in the middle of a performance. I had never even done it before, even considered doing it.
Yeah.
And it felt so right, and I was like, "Ah, so good. You know, I mean, it's like, why didn't this, occur to me? And that's the nature of the art, you know? There's this little things, little refinements that we make along the way. After thousands of performances, something will occur, and then it brings a whole new level of impact to the magic. So,
no, that's cool. That's like what Tai Chi masters do.
Yes, that's
right?
exactly.
Yeah. That's, I was like,
That's exactly. I'm not even sure if I was channeling a Tai Chi. Sorry. Good stuff.
Oh, that's cool. I've studied a little bit of like different energy and like moving energy and like how your hands, like when I charge them up, you can actually feel that magnetic like
absolutely
push. So like when you do that, everybody does probably feel you pushing that energy. So it does have like a more powerful effect. Whereas a snap is great.
Yeah.
But like if you don't get a clear snap, it's not gonna hit you as good. But like with that, I think the silence of it with just the is quite powerful.
Oh yeah. I think magic is a very visual art, and obviously. I mean, I think maybe the exception would be mental magic, but then you still need to see the revelation of, whatever they predicted or whatever they did. But so doing magic on radio, for instance, would be a joke, unless the audience, unless the audience really trusted the host, But I totally lost track of where I was going with this.
No, but it's your level of detail that you have to be aware of with what you do is a profound, like when you really because you're talking about like the whole from beginning, middle to end, plus you have to incorporate the audience, like the feeling, the mood, like you are like the entire Broadway performance in a way.
Yeah, it really is. That's why you absolutely have to be passionate about it. Otherwise, it's going to be work, And so if you're not interested in, magic, I'd say, you can dabble at it if you're an enthusiast and you want to learn some tricks or something. But if you really want to take it to the next level, I wish there was university degrees on this, or something.
That would be so cool.
It really, I mean, there's all the other arts.
Yeah, why?
But that's kind of the infuriating thing about it. It doesn't. I think there's private, courses one could take and graduate with a certificate, right? But nothing accredited. And,
well, we should work on that.
Yeah.
I'm 100%. As we go forward, I would love to, because it really truly is like when you really come to, even more so than like an actor, because there's some level of skill that's involved physically with what you're doing that I would say almost supersedes acting in a way. Just not to like insult anybody, but like when you have a skill in an art, like, and you have to do it, there's a lot more to it, right? And so like I'm with you, like let's get that going. I'm gonna put that out into the world.
All right.
Okay. No, it's magic. There's something about magic that has always been very special to me, and so I never knew that it didn't dawn on me that it's not in schools. But I just maybe this is that thing where you just we think of it right now and we'll put it into motion.
It some way. When you touched on a point earlier about the process of magic, and that's something I've actually learned through the process. After doing the process is, I ask myself, what do I want to see magically? What's the magic I want to see? This. Okay. What kind of presentation could I put to it? Process, right? So I'm putting words to the actions, to the magic, and it's kind of coming together in this rough outline. And then I start to rehearse, and start to practice, and choose the sleight of hand that I want to incorporate into it, right? And then, so that's one stage for myself.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I need to perform it
Yeah.
for an audience, right? And that's, okay, now I need to make more refinements because I didn't communicate this well enough. You got to be in tune with your audience in order to understand, excuse me, understand, are they understanding it? Essentially, right? And are you getting the point across? And, or is this magical effect having the impact that I want it to have?
Yeah.
You know, there's certain things, so you've got to be really in tune with the audience and make those adjustments. And there's big adjustments that happen sometimes during this second phase of the process. Yeah. And then once you have it to a degree, now you can actually maybe perform it professionally or something, you know. And there's still, like, even to this day, I'm surprised now. But in hindsight, I'm realized, yes, I am making just these little refinements to the magic that I've been doing for years, you know. And, you know, because there's certain lines, there's this couple of routines, actually, that I was just missing the last line. There's something I needed to say, and I didn't know what to say. Yeah. And I've been doing it for, you know, and it only recently did the lines occur to me. And I'm like, yes, it was so perfect, you know. And so I'm going to be sharing with all this, with all this magic with everybody. So, you may not know what line are you talking about, Tim, but you know, it's just inherent, like it belongs there, you know, it belongs there, and
it was made for it.
It was made for it, right? So, so I'm excited to share all this.
I know, I am too. Is there any final things that you would like to share or that you haven't said?
Well, I mean, I'd say, watch magic, you know. I mean, it's interesting how many people, I mean, music is omnipresent in our lives, you know, and as it should be, because, you know, any business can have music just playing in the background, right? And it's in movies and everywhere. So, but magic seems to be, maybe that's why it doesn't have a place among the higher arts, because it's just not as in people's faces all the time, you know. It's not as available, it doesn't seem like. But I mean, online is better than nothing, you know. And you know, it's not the same, doesn't have the same impact. But if you can get to a live magic show, a good one, I don't know how you can figure it out, but you know, read about it, or read about the magician or something, and see if it's something that you want to see. But get out there and watch the magic, you know. It'd be really, I think, good for your well-being. Yeah, definitely. To see some magic, no, it's like a good psychedelic. Yes, it really is, and totally legal. So. I think it's far better in the long term here. Watch more magic, get more effects. Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you. This was wonderful. I now see magic in a different lens. I always loved it, but now I'm like falling deeper in love with it. Oh, cool. So thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. All right. Okay.